Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 2 weeks since I posted a video, and the thought was that I was going to wait until things got a little better, and I can't tell you they have. It's been very frustrating, and I'm really starting to question my baseball knowledge and just really think about, why am I doing this? What is it that keeps me playing fantasy baseball? Don't I know anything? Aren't the players that I pick supposed to be good? All of these thoughts are running through my head as these last, really, 4 weeks have just been a blur. Thinking to myself, I know baseball. I know what I'm doing. I know the good starts. I know the bad starts. I know the questionable ones. I know the players who are going to do well. Apparently I don't. We're going to go ahead and get right to it. This video is going to cover weeks 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, depending on which week the league started in. So, as we talked about, some leagues counted weeks 1 and 2 as one because there's a short week. Others counted the short week as 1 week, and then so on and so forth. So I'll do somewhat of an explanation, but we are going to start with the Kent Murphy Dingers. So this was a league where the first 2 weeks started as one together. So this is week 6 that I'm going to be talking about, and I lost categories to 6 categories. Now, I had a very poor offensive showing. For the entire week, all 7 days, I had guys starting every single position. I had 13 RBIs total. Yeah, it's not going to win you any leagues. Also, there is a fly in this room. I can't get it. I've tried, and it's super annoying. So it just flew right under me. So if you see it and it annoys you, it's annoying me too. Okay, back to baseball. So my opponent had Aaron Judge and Marcus Semien. Therefore, those two guys accounted for 5 home runs and 14 RBIs alone. So with just those two guys, my opponent won RBIs. He doubled and added some to my RBIs for the week. So cool. That's not embarrassing, it is. So also, the pitching. I have a love-hate relationship with pitching because I have great closers who like to give up runs and or hits or walks. And so they bloat my whip just enough for me to lose by 0.05. My ERA was good. It was like 3.6. I beat him in that category. But my whip was 1.39. My opponent's was 1.34. There were several starts that really hurt me. And these starts weren't, you're playing the Dodgers, you're playing the Braves, you're playing the Phillies. These were starts against Miami, Oakland, the Chicago White Sox. So, okay. Logan Webb had a bad start against the Reds. Come on, man. I mean, I know they're decent. The guy, a lot of young talent, but come on, Logan. Aaron Civale had a bad start against the White Sox. Cool. Then Ben Lively had a bad start against the White Sox. Then Michael Lorenzen had a bad start against Oakland. Now, Oakland, they've been doing a whole heck of a lot better as of late. But you stream teams, pitchers, or hitters, or both, against those teams. The White Sox, the Reds, especially if they're at home, Great American Ballpark, the Athletics, the Marlins, because they are a subpar team. They don't have the greatest hitters. They don't have the greatest pitchers. So I thought, I'm safe. No, I was not. So now we move to week 7, and I go into Sunday. I'm losing 1 category to 9 categories. With a little bit of help from ads throughout the week, and then obviously a big play from Connor Wong, who was an ad, Jose Altuve, Alec Boehm, and Brandon Nimmo. They combined for 8 runs, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. Obviously helped with batting average, but I was still nowhere close. So I was then leading in runs, tied in home runs, leading in RBIs, and I still had the whip, and I still had saves and holds. So it was getting closer. It was 6-4 at this point in time. So I'm like, or 4-6. I was still losing. I was like, oh my goodness. I have a chance. Either get some wins through some of my saves and holds guys, getting a little lucky, or continue to lower my whip even lower to get it, because I think it was like 0.08 or something like that. So I'm thinking, oh yes, here we go. Well, that didn't pan out. Johan Duran and Jameson Taillon decided that they did not want me to win. They proceeded to blow up my ERA and blow up my whip. Cost me a save, and then also cost me a win. Oh gosh. So that was the end of that, and I ended up losing 3 categories to 6 categories. Very unfortunate. That brings me to a 2-5 record. There were lots of ads and drops, so you'll be able to see them. A lot of them helped me. There were some biggies. Connor Wong was huge for me. Real Muto was down for a few games. Also, pitching-wise, there were a few guys that came up big, but overall, I need to figure out something. Maybe try to trade some guys. I have plenty of saves and holds guys, so it might be a situation where I punt wins, punt strikeouts, and just work on ERA, whip, and saves, and that could work as long as I hit my 30 innings pitch. That's the only caveat to that. So I'll have to, I guess I could trade some pitching for some hitting, but I feel like I have good hitters. They just haven't gotten going yet. Talk about Matt Olson. Dude, you were phenomenal last year, and you're not doing anything this year. There are a few other guys. Altuve, he's doing well. Real Muto, definitely doing well. Esteury Ruiz, I thought I was going to have the stolen bases in the bag every single week. That's not working out. I had a few other guys. Royce Lewis, he went down. Should be coming back here soon. I've had a few other big pickups. Abraham Toro, he's coming out of nowhere. Wasn't even supposed to be the starter, and has regained a position, multi-positionality, so that's great. Picked up Brandon Nimmo, definitely gets on base, so he should be able to score a few runs in that sometimes high octane, sometimes very subpar Mets offense. So overall, I have to have this better play from my pitching. That's really it, because pitching has let me down these last 2 weeks. Losing the whip by 0.05, and then just having some of my closers really blow up. Johan Duran, what are you doing, dude? You were one of the best last year. But in any case, Kent Murphy Dingers sitting at 2-5, not where we want to be. That's not how we're going to win the championship. It's not even how we're going to get close to the playoffs. So we definitely have to work on this. Okay, I thought I saw the flag again. Anyway, we're now going to move to the Cheese Weasels. And these last 2 weeks, I tell you one thing, if there's been any positive to come from this, it's been hearing these Cheese Weasels, because I jumped from 7th, 8th place with 88 points. I'm now sitting in 4th place with 108 points. Woo! I've had contributions from pretty much everyone on the team, but there are a few guys who have really stepped up. Bryce Turang, he has gotten me 16 hits. He's got me a few stolen bases and almost a 350 batting average. Michael Garcia, 15 hits, 10 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, hitting almost 300. Aaron Nola, he got me a win, a complete game, and a shutout, obviously helping my ERA and my whip. And I've had some saves from a few of my guys, Kirby Yates, so on and so forth. But let me tell you, the 2 guys that have just gone crazy with the strikeouts, Paul Skeens and Tyler Glasnow. I have 18 strikeouts from both of them each. Now, just because everyone contributed didn't mean that they contributed enough. Yordan Alvarez, you have 1 home run in the last 2 weeks. Need more from you. Tyler O'Neill, you got off to a white-hot start. Fizzled out a little bit. You're getting back little by little, but dude, you've had 2 home runs in the last 2 weeks. Definitely need more from you. Speaking of needing more, I need more from my bullpen guys. Camilo Duvall, Kirby Yates, Craig Kimbrell, Yanier Cano. Need you to contribute to my saves, my holds, my whip, and my ERA. I do not need you to contribute to my blown saves or my losses. Sir, please stop giving up hits, stop giving up walks, stop giving up runs. Just get them out. 1, 2, 3 every time. Okay? Please. Also, just because you had 18 strikeouts, Tyler Glasnow, that does not make me forget your poor outing against the Reds. Don't get me wrong, the Reds are pretty good. They have some young talent. They're fast. but they're the Reds. Just like I did with the previous team, I'm going to talk about the adds and drops that you can see right here. You're going to see some big names. You're going to see some names that you would not think in a million years would be on the waiver wire, but you do have names like this because this league is constantly changing. You're constantly trying to get ahead in X category or Y category, and these guys are on the waiver wire. They're so much talent on the waiver wire. Now, this is also because we have a short roster, so you can't hoard all of these guys. We have so many categories, the saves, the holds, add to it, because there's two different categories. Obviously, you have the wins, you have the complete games, the shutout, stuff like that. So you're constantly trying to hit some of those because it's so hard to. I got super lucky with Aaron Nola having that complete game shutout for me. That boosted me in the standings, as you can tell. So that's why you see some of these adds and drops. If you were to look at every waiver wire, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you can make a team out of all these. Yeah, you could. You absolutely could, but, it is what it is. So now we're going to move to the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys. Now, 2 weeks ago, I had a good matchup. I ended up winning 390 to 234. A lot of help from Bailey Ober with 51 points, Paulo Lopez with 33, Simeon Woods-Richardson with 28, and Nate Lowe with 27. Not a lot of help from Ronald Acuna, who had 9 points. What? Nolan Arenado, who had 4, and Jose Altuve, who had 3. What is going on? Thank goodness I didn't need your help that much, but for the next week, for this past week, unfortunately, I did need your help. And you didn't come through. I lost 421 to 395. Now, pitching both helped me and hurt me this week. Nick Pivetta led my team with 50 points. Christopher Sanchez followed with 36, and Jake Flaherty with 29. Now, Lourdes Gurriel only got me 4 points. Well, he's not a pitcher. Bryce Miller is a pitcher, and he got me 2 points. Bailey Ober is also a pitcher, and he got me 6 points. Combined, those 8 points from my 2 pitchers was pretty frustrating, infuriating, actually, because the opponent, he had a last-minute pickup. He had 1 extra start, and I picked up Jose Soriano, who got me 19 points. He picked up Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti, who is not doing well. He got blown up, and he hasn't been performing at a high level, so I'm thinking, I absolutely am going to win this. Somehow, he went like 7 innings and got 19 points. What? In any case, very frustrating. I'm sitting at 5-3 in this league. Not where I want to be, but could definitely be worse. I feel like the pitching really has let me down. And again, it's not because I'm starting guys against the Braves, against the Dodgers, against the Phillies. I'm starting guys against, like, the White Sox, the Reds. Oh, the Reds. I'm starting guys against good matchups, Like, Soriano started against the Rangers. Now I was like, oh, God. He's had a few good games. Let's hope he does well. And he did well. Tell me why. Tell me why you do well against one of the better teams in the league. I don't know. But in any case, you will see the adds and drops on either side of my face. There are definitely a few big ones, a few big adds and drops that you'll see. Some of them were due to underperformance, some of them were due to injury. I really enjoy more flexibility with this league. I do have a whole heck of a lot more pitchers because that is what's going to win you and or lose you this league. So definitely focus on that. Also want to make sure I have some of those guys who are not going to burn a start for me. So bring in some bullpen guys, those saves, those holds really help. Those relief wins have really come in handy a few times. Obviously, not this past week. Now we're going to move to the Peach Creek Purgatory team where we talked about being undefeated a few weeks ago. Then we took our first loss, which was difficult. Then we lost 2 in a row. Like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, week 7 was another loss, 908 to 770. When I tell you pitching let me down, you're just going to be like, dude, I'm sick of hearing that. So am I. I am sick of hearing that. And I'm not even going to complain about the injured list. Because my injured list it's full. But my pitchers, like they continue to just let me down so much. So let's go ahead and get to the people who did well for me. Brent Rooker had 71 points along with Abraham Toro, followed by Ketel Marte was 68. So Ketel Marte definitely doing his part in helping me, and those two additions from the Athletics to the better Athletics. Unfortunately, we're not seeing Esteury Ruiz do what he did last year with the stolen bases, as of yet at least. But hopefully he will also come along. But those three guys definitely helped me to get close, I guess you could say. However, when I tell you about the guys who didn't help me, you hopefully will be as sick to your stomach as I am. So I'm going to read these bad boys off. Paul Blackburn got me 1 point. Kenta Maeda got me negative 13 points. Andrew Kittredge, negative 13 points. Luis Ortiz, negative 5. And Nick Pivetta, negative 5. I'm not saying if they would have done better, I would have won, but I am saying that it would have been a whole heck of a lot closer than 140 points. So disgusted. That's 3 games in a row I've lost. And again, it's because of pitching. Sat some guys, Javier Assad, sat some guys. I'm trying to think of other people. I mean, it's been 2 weeks. But it's just super frustrating that I am continuing to pick the wrong guys. So now we're going to move to week 8. New week, new teams, new pitchers, new outcome, right? No. Nope. We lost 846 to 741. You're going to get sick of hearing it in this video, but pitching let me down again. Nick Pivetta led my team with 77 points, followed by Taylor Ward, who's not a pitcher, got me 57, and then Corey Seager got me 51, also not a pitcher. However, when we get over to pitching, you will see that Taijuan Walker got me 3 points. He also got hurt. Max Fried got me negative 1 point. Jameson Taillon got me negative 3 points. Really? Really? And Jose Leclerc got me negative 7. Now again, I'm not saying I would have won if these guys would have done well, but I am saying that at one point in time, Jameson Taillon got me 40 points in the game. Max Fried got me 59, and Taijuan Walker got me 34. So, I'm saying I could have won in any case. Now, I'm sitting at 4-4. I've had to drop some of these guys to try to go after pitchers that weren't going to burn starts. And sometimes that hurts me. Leclerc, Kittredge, those two guys. But hopefully I'll be able to scour the waiver wire and find some better players. Now we're going to move to the Russell Matt Jim James team. Now 2 weeks ago, I was playing the number 1 team in the league. And I lost, no surprise there. 3 categories to 11 categories to 2 categories. But I had some really positive results from some of my players. Yandy Diaz, who was in a slump per se, he's hitting far below his 300 average, but he had 7 runs, 4 extra base hits, and 2 home runs for me. Bryson Stott and Nate Lowe both had at least 6 RBIs. Nate Lowe had 8 walks in 1 week, which is great. Bryson Stott had 3 stolen bases. Pitching-wise, Hector Neris had 2 wins in relief for me, and JJ Romero had 2 holds. On the other side of the pitch, pitching-wise, I had very poor starts as the following 4 players gave up at least 5 earned runs in their starts. Nick Pivetta, Simeon Woods Richardson, Kevin Gausman, and Michael Lorenzen. Now I'm going to read a list of players and tell you their offensive contributions to my team 2 weeks ago. Ke'Bryan Hayes, 1 run, 1 walk. CJ Abrams, 1 run, 1 RBI. Ahmed Rosario, 1 run, 1 extra base hit. Jose Altuve, 1 run, 1 RBI, 1 stolen base. That is what those 4 players contributed to my team in a week's worth of time. But what we did have enough of was categories 1 in our week 8 performance, as we came out with a victory 8 categories to 5 categories to 3 categories. Now, there were definitely some more contributions from a few guys, but Bryson Stott had himself a week. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 6 walks, and 2 stolen bases. Tommy Pham and Abraham Toro both had 3 extra base hits, and Nick Pivetta had 16 strikeouts and a win over 2 starts. Now, there were definitely a few guys who did not do well for me. Between Nate Lowe, Brandon Nimmo, and Luis Rengifo, they had 6 hits out of 52 at-bats, and that was good for a 115 average. Very little contribution, such as very few hits, very few walks, very few stolen bases, very few extra base hits, so not great. Also had two starters who kind of burned me. Now, Taijuan Walker got hurt in his start, so he only went 3 1/3. And Matt Manning, again, had a bad start. Surprise, surprise. On each side of me, you will see the adds and drops for the last 2 weeks. Definitely some big ones here. Very happy about some of the guys I was able to pick up. And unfortunately, I did have to drop some of these guys. We definitely drafted some of these guys or picked these guys up with higher expectations, but at this point in time, we have to do what's best for the team. And the important thing is we are winning more categories than we are losing. Overall, we are at 53 wins, 55 losses, and 20 wins. Now, you might look at that and say 53 is not more than 55. However, the ties count as half of a win, so we are technically in a situation where we have 63 wins and 55 losses. So you got to take a positive wherever you can. The last team we're going to talk about, the South Harmon Institute of Technology. Now, this team had a pretty good week 7 as we were able to come out with a victory 10 categories to 6 categories to 2 categories. So with that big win, we had some big contributions. First, Brent Rooker had himself a week. He had 7 runs, 2 home runs, 19 total bases, 7 RBIs, and a stolen base for good measure. Freddie Freeman had 5 runs, 2 home runs, and 15 total bases. Bryce Turang had 2 stolen bases. Tyler Glasnow had 10 strikeouts, and Seth Lugo, over 2 starts, had 17 strikeouts and a win. That was amazing. However, the negative was Andrew Kittredge got a blown save and a loss, and Kyle Harrison gave up 7 walks in his start. So definitely have to work on that. Something else we have to work on is week 8, as we unfortunately lost 6 categories to 9 categories to 3 categories. Now, I went ahead and grouped some of these guys together as they all contribute in some way, shape, or form similarly. Bryce Turang, Michael Garcia, Matt Olson, Tyler O'Neill, and Tommy Pham all had at least 1 run scored. Many of them had more. 10 total bases, which is great, and 2 RBIs. Again, many of them had more, but that was the least that they had. So that was great. Also, a group of guys who had at least 2 stolen bases included Michael Garcia, Bryce Turang, and Tommy Pham. So another contribution from those 3 guys in addition to the first group that we talked about. Now, Nick Pivetta had 16 strikeouts, and there was Seth Lugo who had 10 strikeouts. Unfortunately, on the opposite side of pitching, Jordan Romano had 1 blown save and a loss, while there were some bad starts by Christian Scott and Tyler Glasnow, both giving up at least 4 earned runs each. So in this league, I'm sitting at 59 wins, 60 losses, and 25 ties. Again, the ties count as half of a win each. So I'm technically sitting at 74.5 wins and 60 losses. Again, you have to take the positive any way you can. These teams are not where I want them to be. They're improving. Some of them are, going downhill. But there's still a lot of time left. We are a third of the way through the season. There's definitely still time. I'm looking forward to seeing what contributions these guys can make. There are guys coming off the IL here soon. There are guys who are going to be heating up. As the temperature warms up, so do these players. Let's talk about some of the guys that you might be looking at to help you heat up. Now, you've seen him on a few of my teams. Abraham Toro, in some leagues, he has first base eligibility along with second and third. In my leagues, he usually just has second and third. He is off to a great start, hitting almost 300, getting some home runs, definitely hitting a top of that lineup, getting the few runs he can, even stolen a base or 2, so that's good. Brent Rooker, if he's available in your league, I don't know why he would be, but go ahead and pick him up. Also, as much as you might hate hearing so much about the Dodgers, there are a few guys you might want to look up. Andy Pages, if he's available in your league, go ahead and grab him. He's definitely slowed down a little bit, but someone who is in enough of a lineup, and they just sent James Outman down, he is going to stick. He is who they want to continue to do well in that league. Someone coming off the IL soon, Lane Thomas. I've picked him up a few of my leagues. You've seen the adds and drops. This man, before he got hurt, he was hitting sub 200, but he already had 11 stolen bases. You talk about an upgrade to a stolen base category. This man, he's going to be hitting atop the lineup. The Nationals are doing a whole heck of a lot better. They have pretty good hitting. They have decent pitching. Definitely someone to look out for is Lane Thomas. And the final guy I'm going to talk about, he is in the minors right now, but he will be called up here soon. Can't tell you a specific date or time, but I do know the Rays are going to want to call Junior Caminero up and take the place of Richie Palacios. He's not going to be the guy. Caminero is doing some big things in the minors. He is definitely going to be someone to come up and I think perform at a higher level quicker than Heston Kjerstad for the Orioles or Jackson Holliday for the Orioles. Definitely think that he is going to have a little bit more experience as he has played more games in the minors in general. He is a third baseman. He can also play a little bit of shortstop. So depending on what the Rays need, Junior Caminero will be a guy that if you have the availability to stash him, definitely do so. Well, that does it for the wrap-ups and the players you should add on your team. I'm sure there are others. So please let me know who you're adding or who you think I should add on my teams to, do better, make better pitching decisions, and just have more points, runs, categories than the other teams. So again, if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm looking forward to telling you more about how my teams are improving in the next coming weeks on our way to the ship. This is Jake Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.